What's up, YouTube? It's your boy KB's Melon, and today I'm going to be explaining the Alabama quarterback situation. So they have 7 quarterbacks, although Nick Saban really is only using 3 this season. So I have all the tabs. I have a whole bunch of tabs pulled up. I'm going to explain the whole situation, but I'm just going to get started by showing you guys the ones that aren't really going to be playing at all. We got Miguel Camboya. Basically, I don't even know. He's not even ranked. He basically didn't even have an offer. I don't even know why he's at Alabama. I don't know if he's good or not. We got Cade Carruth. Same situation basically with him. I think he actually had offers from other places. Yeah, he actually did commit to Mississippi State, but he ended up decommitting from them to enroll at Alabama. But he's basically not going to get playing time either. He's a sophomore. We got Eli Hollistein, and I think this guy could be pretty good in the future. He's a true freshman though, so I don't think so. Obviously, Nick Saban isn't going to be using him, but I don't think he could be I don't think he would be good this season. But he's a true freshman. I think he could be good in future seasons. He was number 12 quarterback in his class of 2023, so I think he could be a good quarterback, and he's pretty tall too. We got Dylan Longran. Obviously, Nick Saban already has the 3 quarterbacks, but he also looks like a good quarterback. He was ranked a bit under the other guy, and he's also a bit smaller, so I feel like the other guy Eli Hollistein might be the main quarterback for the future for Alabama, but Dylan Longran, whatever his name is, I think he can fight with Eli Hollistein for the job. And then obviously Ty Simpson, you guys probably know him if you just watched the game. He is a redshirt freshman. He was number 4 quarterback in the class of 2022, but obviously rankings don't matter that much because there's been some players ranked very high that didn't turn out to be good at all, and there's been some players ranked really low that ended up being insane. So I'm going to go more into the stats of the season after this, but he's high ranked. He didn't play too bad. He was not releasing the ball, but he's a redshirt freshman, so he could be the future. And obviously there's Tyler Buckner. You guys probably know who he is. He's a redshirt sophomore from Notre Dame. He transferred from Notre Dame. This is his first season at Alabama. He played pretty poorly, so I'm basically going to be saying who I think should be the starter, but Nick Saban might have a different opinion, but after what Tyler Buckner just did, I'm going to just exit out the tab. I don't think Tyler Buckner should be the starter, and it's his first season. I don't think he's that good, and he also doesn't know the system as well as Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe, he's a redshirt sophomore. He's been at Alabama his whole 3 years. First year he redshirted obviously, and he backed up. He backed up Bryce Young. He actually had committed to Texas, as you can see right here. He committed to Texas, but he decommitted to go to Alabama. So he must have seen something in Alabama, but so far he hasn't been doing too much. He was a number 14 quarterback in the class of 2021. He's a redshirt sophomore. He backed up Bryce Young, or I think it was Bryce Young. His freshman year, he redshirted it, and then his second year was his freshman year, redshirt freshman year. Then he backed up Bryce Young. That was last year, and he got some playing time. And then this year, he's getting a lot of playing time, redshirt sophomore. So he knows the system, and I think he could be a good starting quarterback. So I'd say that who I would play as quarterback is between Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, because Ty Simpson, that's the future. That gives you an extra year at quarterback. Jalen Milroe, that's one less year, especially if he turns out to be good. That's 2 less years, unless he also turns out to be good. So we're going to look more at the stats. Obviously, this is a Middle Tennessee game, and Middle Tennessee is pretty bad. Obviously, you can see I'm not going to say that they played bad. They had 56 points. Jalen Milroe was 13 for 18, 194 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. So that was a pretty good game for Jalen Milroe. It was good first game of the season. So he knows the system. So he knows how to play football and score 56 points against a lower seed, just a lesser great team. So we also have Tyler Buckner, 3 for 5, 27 yards. So he got some game time. Obviously, he showed some flashes for 27 yards, and then Ty Simpson had 1 pass for 5 yards. And you can see down here, Jalen Milroe, 48 yards rushing, Ty Simpson 12, Tyler Buckner 9. So they all seem to be sort of dual threat quarterbacks. But that game, you can't really judge it off that game because that's Middle Tennessee. But this is a good game to judge it on. Texas Longhorns, they lost by 10 points. Jalen Milroe was the only quarterback to play because obviously Nick Saban can't play with his quarterbacks in a big game like this against a good team. We've got Jalen Milroe playing all the game, 14 for 27, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So it wasn't a very good game because he obviously had 2 turnovers, but to counteract his 2 touchdowns. So I think without those turnovers, they could have won the game. 14 for 27 isn't the worst, though. 44 yards on the ground. but for 15 carries. So he had a pretty he had a mediocre game. I would not say that's a good game, but I would not say that's a bad game. So I think that shows he knows the playbook, but he just needs to limit his turnovers. And right here, this is the game that they just played. They only beat South Florida 17-3, which is very poor for especially a dynasty like Alabama. But we got Tyler Buckner, 5 for 14, 34 yards. That's very poor. That's not good at all. And he only had 11 yards on the ground for 2 yards. That's poor. That is very poor. But and then Ty Simpson, 5 for 9, 73 yards. That's pretty good. But you can see down here he had negative 13 yards on 9 carries. So he was averaging negative 1.4 on each run because he was not letting go of the ball. I don't think Ty Simpson knows. He needs to figure out more when to release the ball because this is his first year really playing a lot of games. So I think he just needs to focus more on when to release the ball and stuff. But I think that shows he has some good potential. So obviously he was high ranked in his class. Rankings don't matter as much. Jalen Milroe wasn't the highest ranked in his class, but I'll just show you guys who he was ranked behind. He was ranked behind some good players. And Ty Simpson was also ranked behind some good players and some bad ones. Obviously, Quinn Ewers just beat them. Caleb Williams, that's a lot of good players. And then you got Tyler Buchner. He was ranked above Jalen Milroe, although I think Jalen Milroe is the better pick for Alabama over Tyler Buchner, if that makes sense. But I'm gonna compare them to what these former 3 good NFL starting quarterbacks that played at Alabama. So you got Bryce Young here. He's small. He can run the ball pretty well, and he was the number 1 ranked player in the nation in his class. So that's not really too good of a comparison because Alabama kind of got one of the best players in the country with Bryce Young. But you got Tua Tagovailoa. This is a more reasonable comparison. He was a 5-star, although he was number 22 in the nation, but he was the number 1 dual threat quarterback in the nation. Obviously, he's a great quarterback now for the Miami Dolphins, and he played pretty good for Alabama. But I think the most reasonable quarterback comparison, obviously, I'm not doing Jalen Hurts because he kind of left to go to Oklahoma for a better opportunity. But you got Mac Jones here. He was not ranked coming out of high school. He was not ranked, as you can see right here, not ranked in the nation he was not ranked. He was a 3-star recruit going to Alabama to back up, and then he ended up playing, and he ended up doing pretty good. But he was number 17 at quarterback behind some of these players you can see right here. A lot of them didn't really pan out. I don't really know many of these names. Am I casual for that? I don't know. But a lot of them aren't very good quarterbacks in the NFL, and a lot of them aren't even in the NFL. But so Mac Jones, he clearly is higher than what his rank says. But coming into college, he wasn't the highest ranked, and that could be compared to Jalen Milroe, ranked number 14, not the highest ranked, although he was nationally ranked. But that could be a comparison right there. So overall, I would say this season, I think Alabama should have Jalen Milroe playing because Jalen Milroe, he knows the playbook. He's older, so he has experience too because he played last year behind Bryce Young, so he learned from a number 1 overall pick, number 1 ranked in the nation player. So I think Jalen Milroe, if he can limit the amount of turnovers and work on getting more yards per carry, I think he could be a really good quarterback. I think he could be a good quarterback in the NFL too if he keeps working. And Ty Simpson, I think if Nick Saban ends up using Ty Simpson, I understand because he's young. He's the future of Alabama. He's good. He just needs to work on not getting sacked as much and releasing the ball earlier, especially with the O-line not being the best because a lot of these players in Alabama, they leave in their junior year because they can be high draft picks. So I think he just needs to work on the pocket presence and releasing the ball earlier. But anyways, Tyler Buchner could also be pretty good, but I don't see too much of an upside from him as he's not doing too good. But anyways, I hope you guys like this little video. There will be a video tomorrow on 2K, and it's going to be a pretty good video. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Got to wait until tomorrow at, I'll say, noon Eastern time. Around that. Obviously, if you follow the Instagram, KBZ_Melon, you will know exactly the time that it comes out because I will be posting over there too. But make sure you subscribe with notifications so you don't miss the video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And if you guys don't see the video tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, I don't know. I'll see you guys whenever. Peace!